on, Hive Warriors? So today we're going to have a little bit of a different video. Today we're going to talk about how losing weight changed my life and how it made things so much more different in such a positive way. Right now, a lot of people will always tell you, hey, you shouldn't worry about weight. Weight shouldn't be a thing. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. But that's the key thing there. Like, as long as you're happy, right? Because I didn't feel happy when I was overweight, when I was 200 plus, pounds, right? I didn't feel, confident in myself. I would rarely take pictures, right? I would rarely put myself in an environment like to go to the beach and to go to the pool and all these different things, which that in and of itself is unhealthy. I'm becoming basically antisocial simply because of the way that I feel that I look, right? Maybe I'm over exaggerating how I feel to the perspective of somebody who doesn't care about it, but to the perspective of a person who does care about it, it was something that was uncomfortable for me, right? That created these social kind of anxiety where I don't want to be in that space when I felt that way about myself, right? So when people say, hey, listen, you just got to love yourself for yourself, it's like, yeah, I love myself for myself so much that I want to and go into a space where I feel good about myself wherever or whenever or wherever I am. So that was the psychological part of it was a big deal to me, right? It will forever be a big deal to me because it's something that I care about. It's something that drives me, right? To continue the process, to, even when I'm building muscle and I'm gaining weight, I'm making sure that I'm bringing that weight back down and reducing my body fat percentage, because that's just how I enjoy living life or going through life. So that's super important. One thing that I will say though is if people are wondering how did it affect me health wise, now my blood markers and like the things that I would get from my routine checkups were always good. I never actually had anything. Now, okay, I wasn't morbidly obese. I was never morbidly obese. I was definitely overweight with a high body fat percentage, but I was never morbidly obese. And I think that that's an important thing for people to know, right? It's like, yeah, I have visceral fat. Yeah, I had a gut, but just because I wasn't morbidly obese doesn't mean I didn't suffer from wanting to or having the feelings of the average person, anybody out there that could easily feel that they just don't feel that they look as optimal as possible. Therefore, they feel a certain level of insecurity for being that weight, right? I mean, you don't have to be like the most heaviest person to feel those feelings. I think sometimes people put it in a spectrum in comparison to other people, or they put it in a spectrum in comparison to the things that they've gone through. And everybody has their own journey. And definitely if you're like, 500 pounds, you're going to look at somebody who's 250 pounds and be like, well, what are you crying about? I'm 500 pounds, which I get from a introspective thought that you would have something, you would think that because to you that is an actual target, right? You if you're 500 pounds, 250 pounds is a target that you're going for, and you know that you're gonna feel much more comfortable and be more confident at 250 than you are at 500. But a person who 250 is their highest, right? To that person, that feels really consequential because that is the highest weight that they've ever hit. So you have to look at it through the perspective of the person. That's one thing that a lot of people would come to this channel and tell me, like, oh man, what were you what was the big deal with you? Why were you such a like, oh my goodness, I can't stand this? You weren't even that overweight. I get that so much, but it's like you weren't in my shoes, right? For me, my highest weight was an uncomfortable weight. My highest weight was a weight that I didn't like. My highest weight was a weight that created confidence issues. So yeah, it's still a journey for everybody, no matter what. If 500 is your highest weight, well, obviously 250 is gonna feel like an accomplishment. But if 250 is your highest weight, 250 is gonna feel like, yo, this is crazy. Why am I 250? I wish I wasn't 250, right? And then, maybe a person that sees somebody who's 250 sees somebody at 180, right? Like, oh man, like he should be happy, even though this person's trying to go lower than that. So regardless of what the differences in terms of weight, psychologically it's still something that affects you, but also health wise it can affect you. I was never at a place where it did affect me. My health markers were always pretty good every single time. I don't even say pretty good. I'll say that they were always good, period. Like I never had any issues with any, like my blood pressure was always good. My resting heart rate, my resting heart rate got lower as I started, working out, obviously. But my heart rate just normally was fine, always good. My blood analysis, always good. So I was never to the point where I was, unhealthy in the sense of metabolic health, right? But I was uncomfortable, right? I was uncomfortable and I wanted to make a change. So basically, my confidence and all of that stuff have gone through the roof since the weight loss, right? Since I was able to lose all that weight. And then obviously doing this channel and being able to help other people get to that point has been even probably more fulfilling than even that, because it's just a like the amount of people that have messaged me and told me about their story and how this channel has helped them during those times where we were breaking through talking about intermittent fasting, when it was like taboo to talk about intermittent fasting back in 2016, back in 2017. We didn't care here. We were talking about it because the studies were there, right? We were talking about it because it was an actual helpful tool to a lot of people that tried other things that didn't work. Same thing with me. I tried a bunch of things that they didn't work. I tried the Atkins diet, it didn't work. I tried to eat 6 meals a day, it didn't work. I tried a bunch of stuff. The only thing that worked to the consistency that I needed it to work so that I can get to the weight loss that I was looking for was intermittent fasting. So I think that that losing the weight that allowed me to create this channel, to start the process of helping others, that is probably the biggest, most positive change that I've gotten out of the weight loss. So that's my story when it comes to losing weight. I wasn't unhealthy. I'm just being real, right? It's not a thing where I'm trying to bash any other, kind of group or, people that feel it doesn't matter, like whatever, like overweight or, underweight. None of that stuff matters. Sure, that's fine. I wouldn't judge somebody simply because they're overweight or underweight or anything like that. I definitely believe in your own personal happiness based off of how you look. But with that comes the reality that that's how I felt when I was overweight. I didn't feel happy. I wasn't, excited about, doing just mundane things that anybody would be like not even think twice about. But if it revealed or showed my body in any type of way, it'd just be uncomfortable for me. So losing weight helped me get into that space where I just felt confident in my clothes, felt confident going to the beach, felt confident just doing the things that anybody would do and not, think twice about it. So hopefully this video was just a kind of introspective video, just to let you know where my mindset was, what drove me. It wasn't some insane event where it was like, oh my God, I just have to do it. It was just a decision, and the right tool finally came along, which was intermittent fasting, that allowed me to consistently stick to the diet. And it's the success of it was so polarizing that I just literally could not stop consistently looking at the studies on intermittent fasting. I would look at studies on weight loss prior to that, even back in 2012, 2011. Prior to that, I was looking at studies regarding weight loss, but I started looking at studies looking into intermittent fasting so way more. I have hundreds of studies that I've gone through in reference to intermittent fasting. There's almost around 100-something thousand studies already on intermittent fasting, dating back to like 1965. So it was a cool thing that opened up a door for me to look through this whole intermittent fasting thing, and that is a cool outcome from the weight loss and the success of the weight loss with intermittent fasting. So let me know your journey. You give me a brief summary. I really want to read it. This is kind of why I did this video, because I just want to talk about why we do what we do. What's the motivation for people to lose weight? It could, my motivation why I did it could feel super simplistic. Like this could be super like, that's all it was. But when you live that, and if you really get it, like I'm sure a lot of people get how I felt, you'll know, like, yeah, I understand the anxiety level that came with it, or like the feeling of just constant, like, I don't want to do that, I want to do that, I don't want to do that, and knowing the real reason why you don't want to do it and how upsetting that is to you, because you would prefer to do it, but you just don't want to because of the way you feel about yourself at the time. And I think there's people that understand that anxiety. Anyways, until the next one, guys, hopefully this video was insightful for you, a little bit informative, and we'll see you, of course, in the next video. Peace out, guys.